Here we go. Hey, let's do it. Hey, giddy up on three. 1, 2, 3. Giddy up.
You can feel the buzz when you're around this city. People have fallen in love with the Birmingham Stallions. Here we go. We're getting a little juice going.
Birmingham is going to win the USFL championship.
Welcome back to State of the Stallions. I'm really happy to be joined today by a man that you all know and who does not need an introduction, but I'll go ahead and give him a brief one, and that is former Stallions offensive lineman, two-time champion, Dee Gray. Dee was kind enough to come on here today and chop it up with me a little bit. So, Dee, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. I'm ready to get to it, man.
Yeah, no, I'm super glad you're here. And want to talk a little bit about the game on Sunday. But before we do that, I know people are going to ask, so I'm just going to go ahead and ask, what's up this year, man? I know people were kind of clamoring to see you back out there, but obviously you're not on the Stallions roster this year. So I think people would love to just kind of hear a little update on what's going on with you and where you're at in life these days.
Well, man, I took an opportunity, man, to further my career off the field, man. I chose to step away from the game, man, and wanted to be more closer to my daughter, man. I actually went to go see my daughter play tonight, man. You know how football can be strenuous, man. Being into the playbook, getting to your body, and everybody know how I'm about my body, man. Last year in Dallas, man, all the needles y'all seen in my story, all the acupuncture and all the massages, chiropractor, what is it called, the cryo machines. Like, it takes a lot of my time, man. So. This is more just bigger than football, man. It was more so, yes, I still can play right now. I'm in great shape right now. I can go ball right now. And I just chose to step away, man, to go trying to chase my other dream, which is what I'm saying, media, podcasting, news, sports anchoring, and things like that. Because football got to end for everybody at some point. And I'd rather walk away from the game with all my limbs, all my brain, stuff like that, man, and still be able to run around my daughter. So, and that's pretty much it, man. So, am I fully retired is the question everybody want to know. That's still unknown right now. So we'll see. You may see me on the Stallions field this year. You may not. You know, never know.
Yeah, you never say never, man.
Never know. So, I mean, you never
yeah, no, I get it. Once upon a time, believe it or not, I played football. Didn't make it as far in my career as you did, but hung it up after high school. And no matter how good you are, even if you're Tom Brady, there comes a day where football has to come to an end, at least the playing side of things.
Wow.
And definitely excited for you and what you're doing, been following along. And it's super cool to see you not only kind of chasing some of your other dreams off the field, but also sticking around, staying connected with the team. And along those lines, you weren't on the field on Sunday, at least in pads, but you were on the field covering the game. You live in the DC area, came out and kind of had a media pass to be there and cover the game. So not, you weren't just sitting on the couch watching it on TV. I mean, you were on the sidelines around the guys to some extent,
Right.
down there when they were warming up and got to see, everything that happened on the field as it unfolded. So
100%.
I'm curious just to kind of hear, your first impressions or kind of just big picture takeaways from the game on Sunday. I know it's an unfamiliar situation for Stallions Nation. We've never lost an opening game, and it was obviously not our best performance to kind of, as an understatement. So I'm just kind of curious your initial takeaways.
Well, first of all, I mean, it gave me butterflies coming out that tunnel and seeing all the fans out there, man, and knowing how I get before the game and just seeing the guys in their pads and guys in their mode, man. And a lot of those guys, man, I'm saying we played together, man. We won back-to-back championships together, like Magoo. Yeah, Ricky Persons out there. Yeah, CJ Marable. You know what I mean? He had all those guys. Even got my boy Austin Watkins back, man, and my boy AJ Rogers. Amari Rogers. So we got all those guys out there, man. And like I said, it was a good moment to be back around those guys. But the way it unfolded, I mean, I just didn't expect that, man. Because what I'm saying, it's a standard, man. It's a standard being having that Stallions on your chest, man. It's a way you go about things. And just watching the game, I just didn't see a lot of fire. And I mean, it just seemed like a whole different team. And I understand every year guys want to move on, and then for this case right here, you can really see the differences, man, in the younger guys, or not even the young guys, the new talent they brought into the team, because it was no culture out there, man. It looked like they got physically beat. You know what I mean? And that's one thing that we never did when I was part of the team, that we physically didn't get beat by people. we might have got out schemed or out coached, but we never physically just got beat. And I feel like DC, take hats off to DC. They did a great job, man. They came out with something to prove, and they knew we was back-to-back champions, and they knew they had to go out there and really put their hard hat on it and really knock some guys around. And they did that up front, especially with their defensive line. So they did a good job with Derek Roberson, man, leading the way up front. So for the DC defenders.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'd be curious to hear, your thoughts on, obviously, and Skip's talked about this, when you won 3 championships, you're at the top, right? Everybody wants a shot at you. Everybody's going to bring their A game against you. Everybody's going to bring the juice when they line up across from you because they got something to prove. They want to show that they're just as good as, as you are. You're the best, you're the standard, but they want to show that they're, they can play to that.
Right.
So for the Stallion side of things, I mean, how do you think you expect Skip or the coaching staff to try and correct that moving forward? How do you establish that kind of passion or that kind of motivation to stay at the top when everybody's sort of gunning for your place?
I mean, right now, if I'm any of the guys right on the team, I'm not worrying about this is one loss, man. It's the beginning of the season. I mean, everybody fresh, everybody came out with all that juice. But the real question is how's the DC Defenders or the Michigan Panthers or the Houston Roughnecks, how they gonna perform when it's week 7 of the season when everybody banged up? So everybody's fresh on game 1, everybody feel good, everybody happy had pads on and fans cheering for them. So this game really doesn't mean nothing. It just shows that it's the first game. I mean, the Stallions just wasn't what they expected to do. You know what I'm saying? You could tell Alex McGough still trying to figure out how to play quarterback. Being in Green Bay for the past year or so, he wasn't a quarterback. He was a receiver. So now transferring him back from receiver back to quarterback again, he had to understand how to go through his reads. And he really kind of was missing some targets out there. Good thing he had some legs underneath him to get him out of some of those pressures. But it all starts up front, man. And I think Skip is going to have to really detail that in practice this week. They got a short week. They went from a Sunday game, got to turn around and got a player day off on Monday, get back to the field on Tuesday, Wednesday, and figure it out because we got Michigan this Friday, and that's not gonna be there. They got a good group, man. And Michigan always been a tough D line, tough linebacker group, lead by number 5. I forgot his name for the Michigan Panthers, number 5. I mean,
yeah, Frank Ginda.
Yeah, Fangenda, like this guy's going to come through the hole. He's going to challenge the offensive line to come off on combo blocks and really get up to the second level to create those holes for CJ and Ricky Person. So if I'm Skip right now, I mean, this game 1, man, it's over. You know what I'm saying? You still got 9 more guaranteed games. I mean, you don't have nothing in the playoffs guaranteed yet. So you only got 9 more guaranteed opportunities to go out there and make it right. So knowing Skip, man, the type of coach he is, man, he's going to make it right. He's going to take care of the players all week. He's going to make sure they got a fundamentally detail up front, man. Up front, really, it was kind of hard to watch, man, because I feel like that's my unit. You know what I mean? That's my unit. We took pride in making sure we protected McGough or Matt Corral or whoever was back there at quarterback. We made sure we protected that guy. And I didn't really see that much this past Sunday.
Yeah, along those lines, I mean, that's certainly been a kind of a point of conversation this week is some of the struggles that the offensive line had. I mean, I think gave up 8 sacks in the game. And, I can't remember off the top of my head any game prior to this one in recent Stallions history where there's been that many sacks. Or I think I saw today another tweet that was out that I think said, I want to say 16 snaps. McGough was pressured, either pressured or hit or sacked. And so, I mean, just kind of a unusually high number for historically what's been, one of the best offensive line units in the league. And, these are, most of these guys, basically almost all of these guys, with the exception of I think, Barry Wesley, who's new to the starting O-line. I mean, were guys that you played with last year and lined up beside. So I'm curious, kind of, what you saw that maybe surprised you, or if you thought, what maybe DC was doing, or just, anything that you thought kind of stuck out to you that maybe led to kind of that disappointing performance up front.
Well, Luke, we could talk about all the time about what the Stallions didn't do right. We got to understand who's on the other sideline. I mean, who's calling those defensive plays? As we know, as a Hall of Fame, will probably be one of the best defensive coordinators in NFL history is Greg Williams. I mean, that guy would have been dialing up blitzes and dialing up pressures all his life, as we know as the New Orleans Saints bounty hunter coach. Like, this dude been dialing up pressures. I mean, last year, I almost gave him my first sack last year. I think I gave him no sacks last season. I gave him no season, so I almost gave up one to DC last year, to number 99. Great player, you know what I mean? So DC always played with some type of chip on their shoulder. They always kind of been, at least from what I watched, always been a team that was tough on defense. And I'm not saying that they just physically better than the offensive line for the Stallions, but they not no slouches either. So they definitely probably got one of the better D lines in the league right now. And The Stallions just got to work on fundamentals, man. I feel like right now, Christian DeLaro, I mean, he's been my teammate in Tennessee. He's been my teammate before in Pittsburgh, and he's also been my left tackle for the past 2 seasons, well, a season and a half. He just got to focus on, man, throwing his hands, man. I feel like he took too many shots to the face where he was trying to play recovery. You know what I mean? Where especially coming off that ACL injury that he had last year with us, like that's hard to really balance and put that foot in the ground when someone is in your chest and up on your helmet like that, and you're trying to pressure and put that foot on the ground when you just had surgery on it. It's a little hard to anchor down, man. So you got to play with fundamentals. You got to watch tape. You got to make sure you're on top of the mental side of the game, especially because you're weaker at that spot. And I definitely saw it in Christian DeLaro, man. It was feasting on him. As we seen in the press conference, when I asked Derek Roberson, what did he see out of 74? He said, you knew exactly what I saw. And he had a little swag to him, you know what I'm saying? He felt good about what he done. He should, you know what I mean? And once again, me and Derek Roberson got history. We played together in Tennessee with the Titans, and also played against each other last year, where he was a no-show last year. So this year he was more of a show this year. And great player, man. He did his thing, but Christian just got to figure out how to play with his arms. He's a long guy. He got long arms, but he had to play with his length and stop letting guys get into his chest. And that's what's causing a lot of pressures from the left side. And for Cornbread, as we call him, Cornbread Deontay Brown, he just got to play with what God gave him, man. He gave him leverage, natural leverage. He's not as tall as Owen. I was the tallest offensive lineman inside. You know what I mean? So he's got to play to his leverage. He's shorter than a lot of guys. He got to be able to get up under people's pads, man. And you can tell he's still kind of favoring that knee a little bit, and got to figure out, man, how to treat that knee, man, and get it right, man. Because whatever he had to do, man, he got to get fixed. Because as we seen, he did have the lowest grade out of all the offensive linemen in the whole league. So if he's a person with some pride in himself, he got to definitely take pride in that. Because I wanted to be on PF pass blockers every week. I took pride in it. So
yeah, absolutely. But I think you make a good point that hasn't been talked about enough, is that both of those guys, as you said, are coming off of season-ending injuries, and that's their first full game back out there in quite some time, and that certainly isn't easy. And like you said, I do think because the Stallions have been so successful, and because particularly the offense has been so successful, people expect us to just come out and light up the scoreboard, and obviously that's the goal. But like you said, I mean, DC is no slouch. I mean, 2 years ago, before the merger happened, they were the best team in the XFL, ended up losing in the championship, but they had the best record and the best season. And then last year, I mean, they weren't a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. Now, they weren't as successful, but like even when we played them, it came down to a last-second field goal. It wasn't like, we just dominated them. And like you said, I mean, they have a stout up front, and then obviously, like you said, with one of the best defensive minds in the entire league, and dialing up pressures and things like that. It's not an easy task. And I think on top of that, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this. I mean, it's when I played football way back in the day, and again, in high school, for whatever that's worth, I played quarterback, and as a quarterback, of course, you got a special relationship with your offensive line, and I always feel for those guys because they never get enough credit when they deserve it. But then they always get, probably more blame than they deserve when things go wrong. And, I think I've seen the offensive line taking a lot of heat this week for the Stallions. And I'm not saying that, the performance was up to the standard or acceptable, because obviously, as you just mentioned, like, they got to improve. But at the same time, I'd be curious to hear two things that come to mind. One, I listened to Skip on the radio earlier this week, and he said, I could have done a better job calling plays and dialing things up to kind of take some pressure off the O-line. There wasn't maybe a lot of chips with the running backs coming out of the backfield, or a lot of tight end sets where the tight ends were staying in to help with blocking. And, I think I saw, I think out of the 8 sacks, 4 were kind of delayed in the play, where Alex kind of, scrambled out of the pocket. And then, like you said, he hasn't played quarterback really in 2 years, and just kind of held onto the ball too long instead of just throwing it away, or just getting what yardage he could. He kind of tried to, do his magic, which we know he can do. But, again, against a really talented DC defense, and him kind of getting some of that rust off, it didn't really quite pan out the way he wanted. So, again, all that to say, I don't think the offensive line obviously played as well as we needed them to. But I also think, whether it was Alex, whether it was Skip calling plays, like obviously it's a whole team effort. There's 11 guys working together. And I think there's some things the Stallions can maybe do this week to help those guys up front be more successful. I don't know if you think that's true, or what your thoughts on that would be.
I mean, right now, when you got a quarterback like Alex Magoo that's coming from a situation where he was with the Green Bay Packers last year, was a quarterback coming in, competing against Jordan Love, didn't get it, moved on to receiver, came back, and been focused on trying to make a 53-man roster, get off the P squad, and become a receiver. The quarterback thing has left his mind. So now things ended. Now he's back at quarterback. Skip has to get him into rhythm throws. When you say rhythm throws, so people understand that, it's called quick game. Quick game is meaning two-step, catch the ball, 2 steps, get it out your hand to get his confidence boosted. Because right now, what Magoo gonna have a real reality check at this, what he just had last week, was understanding that this league is not the same as the USFL when you was playing, where you could run around, throw a bomb, and it just magically fall in people's hands. Not saying that always happened, but you can see that he was reminiscing a little bit on that field, trying to do things he did back when he sorry about that. Back, my goddamn throat job. But, he was doing things when he was trying to make plays. He was trying to move around, throw balls deep, and it was like one time he threw a pass all the way down the field. Was like, come on, Alex. Like it was kind of hard to watch. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, I just feel like Alex gonna have to get into some rhythm throws. Like I just don't feel like right now getting him to the drop back pass and making him go through all these reads it might be a little bit too much. You know what I mean? Especially when you're in practice doing those things. The heat is not on like that. I mean, people are not smacking you, people are not hitting you. So it's like they got a halo on a quarterback in practice. So he doesn't really feel the pressure on his blind side like he would in the real game. So that's why a lot of times he's back there throwing off his tippy toe. He just wasn't like really the Magoo that I remember that was my quarterback, where he played with that swagger, like he came out like, let's go, we about to score this. You know what I'm saying? It be 10 seconds on the clock. We gonna score this motherfucker. You know what I mean? And that's just the way Magoo carried himself. And as an offensive line, I made sure my guys, we locked in, bro. It was not one of us up front that didn't know what we was doing. Whatever we saw, communicated. And I think that Cole Snyder's got to take the charge even more and really tell people, man, how much he wanted to protect this quarterback, man. Because Cole Snyder played a good game, but everybody up front can get better. Jerron Jones, I know he's new. I see him sliding in that guard a little bit. He was kind of losing his foot a lot. I mean, so it was like I said, overall it was hard to watch, but I know that's not about to be the end result. You know what I mean? It's not how you start, it's how you finish. So DC did a great job, man. They schemed it up and they came with pressure, man. They was dialing it up, and Skip had no answer to it. You know what I mean? They was bringing corner blitzes, nickel blitzes off the edges, and Magoo couldn't. They was like putting some type of how would you say that they was disguising their pressures and dropping guys, and it was messing his reads up. So he couldn't realize where to throw the ball. He was throwing off his tippy toe. It was just a lot of confusion out there. You know what I mean? It was game one. So, like I said, I'm excited to see what they do against the Panthers this week, Friday night, and lights, camera, action. Friday night, y'all the only one on. So y'all be the only one on TV Friday night, and we everybody be watching. So.
Yeah. And, just a little bit before we hopped on here, the depth chart came out, and, during the week, there were some questions about, is there going to be a change up front with the offensive line? Is there going to be a change at quarterback? But at least based on the depth chart, Skip's still sticking with Alex for this week. He's also still sticking with the same starting 5 up front with the offensive line. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts, as far as the players' kind of mindset, what's it like sort of going into a new game where you're coming off of, maybe not an ideal performance, but the coach is still believes in you, still putting you out there, and what's sort of the mindset going into this big time kind of Friday night against probably the other best team in your conference?
I mean, me personally, I agree with Skip, man. You let the same 5 guys roll, because being an offensive lineman, it's hard to gel when it's new bodies coming in and out. So those 5 guys, it was only game 1. So we got to understand that these guys got to get some rhythm together. They got to understand how to be able to read each other without even saying a word. And by taking these guys out for game 2, if that was the case, it would just be causing more confusion. It would just be game 1 again for that O-line going into week 2. You see what I'm saying? So this will be week 2 for this starting O-line that came out and played bad. Now these guys had the opportunity to get that bad film out there, look at it, because I know Coach Goose and I know how he coached. He gonna coach the hell out you. And it had been it was a lot of screaming on Monday when they got in that meeting room. There was a lot of screaming, a lot of pointing blinkers at people. It was a tough meeting. I know it was. Those guys gonna come out and they're gonna play hard. I mean, this second week they're gonna get better. They're gonna get their bodies right, man. It was the first game, man, and you know what I'm saying? No one knew what to expect. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has gotten better over the offseason. Stallions have got better. DC have got better. Everyone's gotten better. So no one really had no film to really watch and see what the 2025 season looked like for each team. Now this week is over. This first week, now people can look at that film. But last year's film was last year's film. That player you beat last year is not the same player this year. He's gotten better, or he's gotten worse. And as we see, they defensive line got better, and our O-line looked like it got worse. So that's why I asked Derek Roberson in the post-game press conference and asked him, is this O-line weaker this year than it was last year? And his response was they're weaker. So, but like I said, I'm not concerned. I'm not worried. If I'm the Stallions, I'm not worried at all because, I mean, how many times we seen good teams come back or bad teams come back when they lose in the first two games and come back and win out the rest of the season and go to playoffs and win it all. So, I mean, this was only one game. And if I'm DC coach, I'm keeping those guys level-headed because right now, everyone has the Stallions marked off on their calendar. We have to beat the Stallions. They're the 3-peat team. They trying to go 4-peat. We got to beat the Stallions. So now DC beat the top team. Where do DC go from here? And where do they go from here? Do they say, well, we already beat the best team. Now we can just chill? They going to go one. You know what I mean? So the Stallions right now just got a lot to prove, man. They got to show people. Magoo got to get better. His weapons around him got to get open quicker. I mean, he just got to dial it up, man. And the O-line just got to get the run game going. And that's the reason why I feel like this game went the way it was, because the run game could never get going. They can never create no hole to get CJ and Ricky comfortable back there to go explode, as we know. Like the CJ's fast and Ricky Bruiser. Like those guys are like click-clack. You got to get them boys the ball, and that's what's going to open up passing lanes for Magoo when it comes to the RPO game.
Yeah, for sure. And, you kind of talking about this and it made me think about it. And this is something that, a couple of people have mentioned, but I think it's easy for us to forget. I mean, again, from the player's perspective, I mean, what's it kind of like in this league where you really don't have a preseason? Obviously, you got some scrimmages, but you really just have a short camp. And then you're going out there week one, first time you're playing a game against an opponent, like for real. And it's game one of the regular season. I mean, did you feel like the couple of years you were in the league that first week kind of had, it wasn't preseason because obviously it was a real game. It was regular season. It counted. But like in terms of kind of what it was like and figuring things out, I mean, did you kind of feel like it was sort of, difficult to kind of get into a rhythm that first game each year when you hadn't had a preseason at all?
Well, that's the difference between NFL and NFL and the UFL. Like, you don't have a preseason. You only have 30 days to get your body in shape, know the playbook, and get ready for one game. You know what I'm saying? Which is the first game, and it's not no preseason. Versus the NFL do have those reps where you get to play those 3 preseason games, do inter-squad scrimmages with other teams, do joint practices, and get those live reps against other teams. You know what I'm saying? So those things do, I'd say, benefit. But, I mean, a lot of those guys on the team know what it is. You know what I mean? They've been around it for, what's this, the year 3, year 2 of the UFL, and some of these guys been in USFL. So it's really no excuse for why these guys wasn't ready. You know what I mean? We can literally give the Stallions and say, well, they didn't have a preseason. Well, the DC Defenders didn't have a preseason either. And they clearly came to that game with a chip on their shoulder that they were going to beat the champions. And they did that. You know what I mean? And then one thing that we kind of that I've been seeing coming through my Twitter feed all day was the remarks from the head coach to Skip Holtz, you know what I mean? About him being a doormat coach. And I mean, I just thought it was unprofessional by him, man. Like, you win a game, man. Like, you win a game, bro. Like, although you call me a doormat guy and all. I mean, I just felt like that was a little bit of okay, now I hope their season go bad because now you get this one win. Now you want to talk crazy. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's still a football game, man. You came out and your team was ready. And I know they had a lot of going on with DC with the head coach resigning, I guess, like a couple days before a game and going to take the job at Tennessee State or somewhere. Whatever school he took a job at.
Tennessee State.
Tennessee State, you know what I mean? So congrats to him. But I mean, like, that coach, man, I mean, I thought that was kind of crazy because they just kept coming through my Twitter feed about the interaction at the post game when he was shaking hands and say congratulations. And he was like, nah, don't pretty much don't touch me, dog. Like, you know what I mean? It was kind of cool to see that. So
yeah, no, that was real interesting. And I'm curious, I mean, obviously the only way the Stallions would get to see DC again is if it was in the championship. I mean, there's not another time they would play them unless that. But I mean, if you were on the roster, would you be kind of hoping in the back of your mind you get to see them one more time?
Bro, Luke, you know me better than anybody. That game would be circled off right now in my head. That shit circled off in my head right now, and I ain't even playing. You know what I mean? Like, bro, that shit made me want to go put my pads on again and get out there and just go see DC one more time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because the Stallions this week just have to really lock in on film, bro. They have to look at tendencies. They have to see safety rotation. They have to see all those things because as an old lineman, man, like it's hard enough for being 300-something pounds trying to block a 250-pound defensive end that's moving left and right with all these different pass rush camps people going to, doing these zero-step cross chop. It's a lot to deal with up front when you're going backwards when someone is running straight at you. You know what I mean? So these guys really got to be more smarter brain and understand how to use their body in certain situations, know when blitz is coming, knowing when a corner is caught, when it's topped by the safety, knowing that corner cat is coming. Like, you got to be able to look at some of those things out your peripherals and see certain things because those answers to the test will give you what that defensive lineman doing. You know, this is gap sound football. Two guys can't be in the same gap. So if he's coming off the edge, he can't come off the edge too. Somebody got to go inside. And all that changes, for example, if that's Christian DeLaro, that changes his set. Why overkick now when giving the inside to the quarterback? Just play him inside out because he's coming right to your face. Boom, block, done. You know what I'm saying? But all that is easy to say, but you have to watch film and be able to see defenses. And when you got a good defensive mastermind like Greg Williams for DC, he know how to, you know what I'm saying? He know how to bluff certain things and make it look like something that you think you know is coming, but it really ain't. You know what I mean? So, but he's just one guy. He's just one gem in the league. Everybody else, I'm not saying the defenses are not that, but Greg got a different type of resume than everybody do. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been around the NFL for some time, and coming to this league, his mind haven't changed when it came to blitzes. But moving on from that, man, I think the Stallions will definitely be ready this week, man. And like I said, Skip gonna do what he got to do, man, to make sure those guys are ready. And it's gonna be a grinded out week, you know what I mean? But they got to get in football shape, man. The offensive line, they just looked tired. They looked like they got physically beat towards the fourth quarter. Especially in that 2-minute drill, that was hard to watch, bro. Like just watching DeLarvo give up those 2 sacks, man. I don't know, man. It was just he didn't use his hand properly, man. I just can't really. As my guy, it's hard to really talk about my guy because we were just playing in the same locker room beside each other, and to be on the other side now, just like he just got to play with his hands, man. And he played with his hands and really get more confidence in that knee. He gonna be all right. Him and Deontay Brown, cornbread.
For sure. No, for sure. You know, honestly, this game, obviously, where it fell in the season is very different from the game I'm about to refer to last year. But it reminded me a lot of when y'all played San Antonio in the regular season last year, where offensively it just seemed like we could never really get it going. And defensively, we didn't play bad. I mean, I think in that game too, we only gave up 18 points, but you know, offensively we couldn't get enough going to score enough points. And it was just kind of one of those games where, and again, you could speak to it better than me because I was there in the stands, but you were on the field. But I kind of felt like it just seemed like the one game I watched you all play where it just seemed like San Antonio wanted it a little bit more. And then obviously you all got that opportunity to kind of get revenge in the championship, and we sort of, you know, we know how that went. But this game kind of reminded me a lot of that, and you know, who knows what'll happen. But again, even just as like you were saying, you know, even just as a fan, there's definitely a part of me that would, you know, we'll see how this season shakes out. But there's a part of me that would certainly, I wouldn't be upset if there was another opportunity for our guys to see DC again, because I think, you know, I think they would like a chance to prove themselves, kind of like you all got against San Antonio last year.
Right, and like I said, last year, they just out beat us. You know what I mean? They beat us through scheme. They didn't outplay us. They didn't out physically beat us. They just schemed us better. You know what I mean? They was ready for our run game. They was ready for all our RPOs. They was ready for all that. And San Antonio did a good job against us last year, and they kind of shut down everything we wanted. So at the end of the day, we just got out coached, and that's on all of us. Not just Tip. That's not on the head coach, the offensive line coach. It's on all of us. We all got outbeat that day. But one thing that they can't say is that San Antonio physically beat us up. Yeah. You know what I mean? They just schemed us better. They found creases. They found ways to delay blitzes and get pressures on us. Like, you know what I mean? And then we was ready for it. And then the second time we saw them in a championship game in that Alamo Dome, what happened? We went home with that ring, right? So at the end of the day, like, it's football, man. You're going to get beat sometimes. You know what I'm saying? And DC got they won against them. You know what I mean? So it's a new week. Friday night is almost upon us. We're a couple days out, like with 48 hours away from game day for them. So, I mean, Skip Holtz is probably getting those guys ready. What's today? Thursday? Wednesday? Tomorrow, Thursday. Yeah. Have a quick little walkthrough, and then they'll be on their way down to Michigan. So, or they playing at home, Birmingham?
They play in Michigan.
They playing in Michigan, so they'll be on their way to Detroit to go play the Lions Stadium. So, you know how they stand downtown, getting their bodies ready to go. So, today was their last day to really sharpen the iron, you know what I'm saying, with their pads on, and tomorrow will be strictly just a walkthrough. So,
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys take it seriously. Understand that tomorrow they got to mentally lock in because the banging part really, for me, the banging part didn't really matter for me because I can hit you all day in practice, but I got to be ready to go on the weekend. So tomorrow was my most important day because that's when I got the most questions. Like, what if they do this? What if they do that? What if they do this? Those is my questions because I need to know when live bullets flying what I need to know. You know what I mean? And I hope those guys are asking questions because Michigan, they not no slouches either. They always had a good defense. So what? What they got? Speak still coming back.
Yep, they got
I think
Speaks, Ginda. They got Levi Bell.
Levi Bell came back, and those all two guys that got opportunities to go play in NFL camps last season after the season's over. Was Speaks went with the Jaguars. Levi Bell went with the Bills, I think, somewhere. And then
a couple places,
Then you had linebacker number 5, Marino. What's his name? What's the linebacker name again? Number 5? Ginda. He Falcons last year. So I mean, all those guys got the opportunity to go play in some NFL camps last season, and so those guys are players. So, and he's a thumper. So to be honest, they better strap their pads up and they helmet up because he's gonna hit you right in the mouth because he got me one time and my lip was bleeding. So
yeah, no, they got one of the best front sevens in the league. So it ain't gonna be any easier on Friday night. And those guys have had this game circled on their calendar because y'all beat them 3 times last year.
If you the Stallions, every game that team had you circled off. We didn't want 3 back-to-back championships. This will be 4 in a row. I only won 2 of them, but the team overall won 3 back-to-back. Bro, you don't think that every team, all 8 teams had that game, the Stallions, just because we lost to DC last week? Oh, the Michigan still have us scratched off. Every team has a Stallions scratched off because what we've done in the past to teams. We done physically beat people up, made people quit. But that's last year, and teams are getting better every year. They're getting more NFL talent. That's people that's getting cut out of the NFL. Everybody's coming here to play, and you get more first-round draft picks, more form of this, more form of that, and everybody coming here in this league is getting bigger and bigger, and it's actually good for the players. So, have the opportunity to continue further their career and get more money.
For sure. Well, man, this has been great. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And before I let you go, I'm gonna ask you one more question. There's a little bit of controversy because PFF put some grades out for the Stallions and for all 8 teams, but looked at the Stallions and of course they didn't play well. I mean, that's no secret. So unsurprisingly, the grades weren't great, but there were some particular grades that kind of made the rounds on social media, went viral, that sort of thing. And so I'm just curious, Cole Kubelik this morning, first he tweeted, I think last night, he said he retweeted, quote tweeted somebody sharing a PFF grade for an offensive lineman, and he said, "Please stop sharing this shit." And then this morning on his radio show, first thing when they opened up, he just went in on PFF and didn't have a super favorable opinion. So I'm curious to hear as a player, just kind of how you all view that.
I don't even know why I start, Luke. That's a great question because PFF is one of those things that you always want to impress because PFF is, to be honest, that's what come out of college, NFL people are looking at your PFF grade. And in the UFL, NFL people are looking at your PFF grade to see when it's time for you, the season be over, they all pro scouting for the NFL is going to look at, well, what Luke Miller have? Oh, now he graded at a 60%. And my thing is, who's grading you?
Yeah.
And it's motherfuckers that sit behind a counter that never ever played a game of football that's giving you ratings on something that they heard from somebody else and they just give you a score.
Yeah.
And I don't know that for sure, but I know that these guys ain't nobody. You don't have no Leon Surskis or Tony Basellis or whoever, Trent Williams or whoever sitting over there grading the O-line. You have some guy that probably is accounting at a bank calling these numbers and just saying, "Oh, this is what I think this grade is." You know what I mean? And for me, it pissed me off last year because there was certain games that, like San Antonio, I know I dominated. I know I should have been number 1 on the list, and I was like number 8. And I was like, bro, who's watching this film? Like, do I need to put out every time I pancake and flip someone backwards? Like, what are y'all seeing? So my thing to PFF, man, if I'm all the guys on the team, man, ignore PFF, man, and because PFF used to it just gets in your head, man, and make you feel like you're not playing well enough. And you could take that. I took this fuel and just made sure I played better every week because PFF is not credible people, man. Those people, yes, a lot of people watch those grades, but they're not credible people that's giving a grade. You know what I mean? So when they start giving real Hall of Famers back there, like people that really play the game and know what it is to throw the ball and quarterback, Tom Brady should be in PFF. He should be grading QBs and saying, this guy, okay, can it make sense? Brett Favre, guys like that make sense. Whoever, you know what I'm saying? Dan Marino, that makes sense. But when you got guys like whoever, just random guys giving grades, it doesn't make sense. So Stallions, man, I really wouldn't worry about it. Deontay Brown, they picked on him a lot, man. I had saying he had a 1.5% on PFF. I mean, it's football. Whatever percent they have, nothing, because they never played a game of football. So, hey, it is what it is. Stallion is going 1-1 this week. I'm calling it 1-1. They beat Michigan 20-17 in Detroit at the line at Ford Field, and that's what it is.
There you go. You heard it here first, folks. So, D-Man, really appreciate this. Love your perspective. Love listening to all the things you're doing, the shows you got. Just real quick before you go, let people know where they can kind of find you and follow you and kind of stay up with what you're doing now.
Oh, well, you can connect with me with all my socials, man. Team Gray with 2 Y's on it. Team Gray spelled TEAMGRAYY. That's on Twitter. That's on TikTok. That's on Snapchat. That's on Instagram. Everything. And then go on YouTube and follow me or subscribe to me. I say at Top Tier Topics. If you catch all my episodes at least once a week, we talk about live news, sports, current events from entertainment, music, NASCAR, wrestling, boxing, you name it. We got it all on there. It's a platform where you get to find everything you're looking for in one. It's not a sports show. It's not a music show. It's a entertainment show. So come have fun, man. Comment, subscribe, like, all that. I'm Dee Gray.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, man. Really appreciate this. And, keep your phone close to you. Coach Googe might have you on speed dial, and in a couple of weeks he might be knowing what the asking price is to get you back out there. You might have to pull a Gronkowski or something. So
I might, man. I'm itching for it. Man. My cleats ready. I got my mids ready, man. Got my vids and my dog visor ready to go.
There you go. Yeah. Well, hey, like we said at the beginning, you never say never. So, all right, man. Well, I really appreciate this, and it's been awesome talking to you. We'll have to do it again soon. And thank you again, sir.
Yep, we'll be back next week.
Yes, sir.